What's up, guys? Welcome to Daily Dose of Reddit. This is your host, Zach, and today's subreddit is r/StoriesAboutKevin. This story is called Part 2, How Kevin Managed to Graduate from College with a Physics Degree, Integrated Masters. It was a bumpy ride. Part 2 out of 3. So I hope we established by now that this Kevin is a special Kevin. He is Physics Kevin, except physics didn't sit right with him, as I am about to tell you. His 4th year and his thought process. In case you were wondering, the seagull problem continued throughout all his time in college. Granted that it was less frequent, but he still insisted on having lunch outside from time to time. He still insisted on taking notes on his laptop and storm off when it shut down for lacking battery occasionally. So one day, Kevin shows up with a broken foot and a swollen eye. Of course, me and my friends asked what happened, if he was okay, was he robbed, did he fall from a bike? If you think that the answer is going to be something stupid, you are right. Apparently, he was walking on the sidewalk and a car splashed him with some water. Out of pure spite, he kicked one of those metal concrete balls that the city council puts on sidewalks so people won't park there, hence the broken foot. We laughed, he laughed, this was too funny. But then I said, but dude, how about your eye? He starts laughing even harder while we wait for him. Eventually, he catches his breath and says, well, after we kicked the ball and showed the finger to the mother flipper, I was in so much pain that I lost my balance and fell face first to the pole that held the stop sign. I crap you not. I cried from laughing. I think we all did. I'm taking his word on this one, so yeah. A sunny afternoon, we were all outside discussing some obscure math problem that a friend found in an old math book at the library. Yes, we physicists are weird. We have fun discussing math. Get over it. Suddenly, Kevin shows up. He didn't say a word, not even hello. Just kinda hanged out with us. The only thing I remember about the problem is that it was about melons. This is important. A friend of mine is sharing his opinion, and out of nowhere, Kevin shouts at him, yogurt! We all look at him and he goes, I like yogurt. We were like, okay, dude, yogurt is fine, but what does that have to do with anything? And he just shrugs. Later, I went to grab a water with a friend, and Kevin came too. My friend asked him, dude, what was the deal with the yogurt? And he says, well, you guys were talking about melons, and the melons I like the most are boobs. You know, those things you see in porn? I heard that sometimes when the guy can't, oh boy, climax, they use yogurt. So I said that I like yogurt. What's the big deal? This was the first sneak peek on how his brain works. It doesn't. It's just a string of semi-random but slightly correlated thoughts until eventually he barks out a word. I didn't even know what to tell him, to be honest, so I just went silent. I noticed that occasionally he did bark a random misplaced word into a conversation, but I thought he was just being rude on purpose or trolling. No one ever even took those words seriously. Boy, was I wrong. His 5th year in the second sneak peek, and my last with face-to-face interaction with him. I was really busy this year and didn't have much time to interact with him, but I did hear a story of how he was thrown out of a party because he was telling someone how he would hypothetically violate a girl, like step by step. Apparently, he had the process very well thought. The kicker was that they were talking about dogs or whatever. So if anyone has any idea of how his mind went from, I like puppies, to I will now explain how to violate, be my guest. Your guess is as good as mine. Now, on the finals week of the 2nd semester, my very last exams for this degree were approaching, and I lived in the library. There I was with one of my friends studying. The library was packed. We were taking a table with 8 seats because we were waiting on some younger physics students that contacted us for help. This was a normal thing because we had already passed those modules and would offer to help often, just like our older peers had offered to us in the past. After they arrived, one seat was left open. Sometime after that, I look at the entrance and none other than Kevin is trying to get in the library through the exit side. Our library had those turnstiles like most subways. One to enter and one to exit, and he was losing a battle with the exit turnstile while trying to get in. I signal him to the other turnstile. He waves at me smiling and keeps trying to enter through the exit. I signal again. He waves again and keeps battling it. I decide to give up. Screw it, I thought. It's not like they were not marked with enter and exit, and there is a big X and red light on the one he is trying to get in, while the other one has a big green light arrow. People were entering using the other one while he was trying to enter still. He didn't pick up that clue either. With all his commotion, eventually the library staff went there to help him and he got in. He came to our table and asked if he could sit with us. I told him, we are studying for finals. You can sit to study, nothing else. He smiled, nodded, and sat down. We all dived into our work. I could see him with my peripheral vision. He took out his laptop, his notes, and stopped, looked at the table, and then he bleats. You know, ma, like a sheep, because that is a totally normal thing to do. Everyone at our table looked at him surprised. People at the other tables looked at our table like we were all a weird bunch. No one said a word. He was just smiling. Me and my friend look at each other and ignore what just happened, and the younger folks follow our lead. He closes his computer and just sits there, looking at us. I get up and say, I'm going outside to get some fresh air. He follows me. Outside, I asked him, dude, what was that all about? You do realize that you were in a library? It's finals week. People want and need to study. His answer was, well, this. I don't know most of the people at the table, and since no one said anything, I just thought I could break the ice. Ice is cold, so I was trying to think about warm things. I remember that wool is warm, and since sheep don't speak, I had to go, ma. I was speechless. I was positive that he was trolling me hard. I was looking at him, and he had this expression as if he was really worried that people weren't talking to each other and not getting along. What? What? You decided to break the ice by imitating a sheep? Are you on drugs? Dude, I appreciate your concern, but we are studying. If you want to talk to people, go to the cafeteria. A bunch of people from our department are there chatting. He responds with a smile. Oh, okay, thank you. See ya. And leaves. I go in again, told our table that he left, and they pointed out that he left his things behind. I assumed he would just come back for them. He didn't. The library kept them for him until I ran into him 2 days later, and he was telling me how he must have lost his backpack with his laptop and notes 2 days ago on the subway or something, because he couldn't find it at home. I told him his things were in the library. He looked confused. I mentioned the bleed incident. Something clicked in his brain. He smiled and said, good, I'll pick him up tomorrow. I'm not studying today anyway, and went home. 6th year, I was working in another town and didn't witness anything special. I didn't make an effort to actually keep up with his Kevinness. I had someone commenting that he failed a module because he turned in a report that he wrote by himself but put another name rather than his name. When asked about it, he said that he wanted to see what would happen just for fun, since there was no student with that name enrolled on that module. The sense of his actions? It beats me. No sense at all. 7th year, I was taking a second degree abroad, medical physics, and on my holidays, I returned to my country and visited some friends at the uni. I had one single encounter with him. I see him at the entrance of the physics department. Hey man, how are you? He is super happy to see me and shakes my hand, then says, I haven't seen you around. And I keep him up to date with my life. Then ask him if he's finishing his degree this year. He responds, no, I just got my mark on quantum mechanics exam. I scored 1 out of 20. I was like, dude, that's a 3rd year module. How many attempts have you done already? He says, 7, give or take. Scored 1 in all of them. To lift the mood of the conversation, I jokingly said, maybe you should ask the professor to stop normalizing your grade. Math joke. He laughs, I laugh, and I go on my way. A few weeks later, I find out that he tried to write a complaint against the professor for normalizing his grade and that it was unfair. I mean, what? Epic facepalm. To anyone who understood the joke, you can clearly see how completely, stupid he is being. I mean, the professor was not normalizing his grade. This is not even a thing. It was a joke. My joke. Okay, I'm gonna leave the grand finale to part 3. His thesis. How he illegally managed to write a thesis and got away with it even though he got caught for being stupid. But the uni was so far gone into the crap storm he created that they just wanted him out of there. Stay tuned. Dude, the Chronicles of Physics Kevin, man, such a wonderful series of stories. Oh man, that guy needs something. I don't even know if help is the word I'm looking for. Maybe a nice, cool needle, you know, euthanization. Kidding, maybe not. This story's called, I Have Known This Kevina from 2 Separate Jobs. Well, I'm honestly not sure how to start/format this, but I have to get this out there to let others know this Kevina. Backstory. I just got a job at Goodwill in my local area and was trying to find a reason just not to say screw it and leave. The Goodwill was the saddest place that I have ever had the unfortunate displeasure to work in, and everyone was either leaving or moving to a different Goodwill. At this point, I'm looking to get a job at a local grocery store with some friends, and my new boss is starting to flirt with me, which I had no idea at the time she was flirting. And to top it all off, we got new shift leads. One of these shift leads was Kevina. Let me say this at the get-go. No one really liked her. Kevina had no idea what she was doing half the time, and the other half, she was bad-mouthing everyone, be it bosses, coworkers, customers, and not just when they weren't there. The people she would be talking about would be right in earshot. Thankfully, I left that job and got that grocery store job, but I left a few weeks later due to not having lunch and working 40 hours a week. 7 months go by and I get a new job at local hardware store, which I'm still at and love so much. I'm nailing everything, nice, and feeling like a rock star for once. Then one day I come into work and hear, "Hey, Opie, you have a new coworker? Meet Kevina?" And this is where I learned that I met one of the biggest Kevins ever. My first encounter. So at this time, I did not know that Kevina was the same Kevina as the one I met 7 months prior. At this point, I have about a 2 or 3 week head start on her working here, so I got to help her on the few times we did work together in the early months. But soon I realized that this was the same Kevina as before, and it all went downhill from there. Here is a list of everything that I can remember. Kevina cleans everything, but she doesn't really know how to. She's sprayed glass cleaner all over her register and her keyboard. She takes an hour and 30 minutes to get 2 people through her line and had to have someone help her each time. Kevina forgets that she has to work on days she has scheduled, and when she comes in late, she blames the boss or her schedule paper that they were off or wrong. They weren't wrong. We will have 15 people being waited to be checked out in line, and she will not get on her register. Instead, she will talk to me while I was trying to get the people out of the line about R. Kelly and what he did to girls. No one wanted to hear all the details she went into with that. She would steal used store-specific coupons from the bag she was supposed to put them in. They didn't work because of how our system logs all of them, and they were deactivated. To top it off, employees don't get to use coupons. She lost over $700 in total and lost $400 in one day, and no one knows how. She buys salt and vinegar pretzels for me and then proceeds to say that she hated the dill pickle pretzels because they were too salty and vinegary. Even after I told her she got the salt and vinegar pretzels, not the dill, and showed her the receipt, she said that she didn't and that the register was lying. I had to teach her how to do everything on her register, not just once, but every time she got a new person in line. She said that no one told her how to do these things, even though I and many others have showed her multiple times in a single day. She would cuss out customers on a regular basis as they were still in line. She said she was Jewish and didn't eat anything non-kosher, but ate pig, fish, and every non-kosher thing under the sun. She said it was non-kosher because it didn't have any kosher salt. I'm still working through that one. She goes on 10 minutes, then falls asleep and has to get sent home. She leaves her everything at work, her phone, wallet, keys, etc., and we have no idea where she went. She is 40 years old and says that she is happy to see that her newborn grandkids will get to see the year 3000. She thinks that when 2099 is up, it jumps to 3000. She has wound up going to the wrong store about 3 times to start her workday. She said that she put it in her GPS and it took her to the wrong store. Mind you, she lives a mile from the job. Kevina leaves the register for 15 to 30 minutes at a time to look around the store, then tries to check herself out at her register. Mind you, people are waiting in her line. She was planning to take the week off but didn't want to fill out the form to do so. She told everyone that she was taking off, including bosses, after the schedule was already made. They told her that she couldn't, so what does she do? Calls in on those days. She said she was going to take off, then assumed that she didn't need to call anymore because we would know. Wants to be a full-time cashier but is always trying to leave early. She says that, "I'm the best worker they got here, so they should make me full-time," while also saying, "I should be able to leave anytime I like because I do the most work here." Right now, she has taken off again and has not shown back up. She hasn't called in or anything, and we think she's finally gone. This is a short list of what she has done, and I hope she doesn't come back. even if it was a good laugh while it lasted. And yes, I know she should have been fired a long time ago, but my bosses are super nice and didn't want to fire someone, especially being so close to Christmas and all. Wherever she is, I hope that the people that have to deal with her have some better stories. There's not much to be said here other than, I don't know. Oy. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell to never miss an episode.